We have another sort of funding that the government says that they need. And I know. And again, I'm sitting at a table with, I know one guy who's like, taxation is theft. We shouldn't have to pay anything, which I don't disagree with. Okay. But we are now at a crossroads where the government, like, they're going to need to make a decision on what to do in order to fund the programs that they're doing now, which do include mass deportations, ICE crackdowns, DOJ going through all of these, agencies and rooting out waste and fraud and corruption. So there are good, like, before it was the Democrats just using our money like monopoly money, funding drag shows in Peru or whatever the they were doing. And now I can at least say, like, you know what? If the money goes to North Carolinians who have no homes because of a hurricane, I'm okay with that. Okay. And so it's just interesting to watch us moving into this week while the Congress is working on a deal, because Democrats were always the ones when it was your toy money that they were playing with, sending it to everywhere else except this country. They were like, we can never shut down the government. That would be the worst thing ever. And I just want to play just a little reminder of the Democrats constantly being like, you can't let the government shut down. We need your money to do all of these terrible things. Watch.
We believe in governance. We want to keep government open. A shutdown is very serious.
There are real consequences when the government shuts down. It harms our national security, it harms our economy, and it harms service members, veterans, retirees, and vulnerable communities.
Border Patrol agents will not be paid. TSA agents will not be paid.
Yes.
Small businesses will be hurt.
It is not normal to hold 800,000 workers' paychecks hostage.
It's not normal to have that many workers in the government. It is not normal to shut down the government
when we don't get what we want.
Shutdown is an extremist policy designed to appeal to an extremist base and hold the whole country hostage.
So this shutdown, you know who's going to feel the pain? You know who it hurts? You.
No. Sorry, not buying that. So they were that was their position when they were doing literally nothing for the American people and not even protecting you, by the way. I mean, they were doing the opposite. They were making you less safe through every single policy. But now all of a sudden you have President Trump, who has been elected to implement his America First agenda. We're deporting criminals. We're eliminating waste. We're like actually making things right in this country again. And I guarantee you all of those people will vote against the continuing resolution this week that will only fund the government through September 30th, and it will extend the 2024 funding levels so there will be no raise in spending, which I understand is like not ideal because none of this is ideal. But to y'all's point about the trade situation that we're in, okay, so like they have destroyed a whole lot of this. And I'm not sure how it gets better without a little bit of like, this is a game that like you have to maneuver just right in order to get the system back where we need it. And so for me, I'm like, listen, if we can just continue and where there's no raise in spending and we can like keep doing the good work that he's done, you're kind of hamstringing him to not allow him to do that because this is going to take a little bit of money. And to y'all's point about the tariffs, it might get worse before it gets better, but we definitely need change. And maybe this is the first part of that. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, but watch, all of those people that you just saw, all of those Democrats are going to vote to shut the government down because they have absolutely no morals and values. None. Absolutely none.
I'm going to go first. I'm going to take a while. So.
Yeah, I know this is Eric's thing. I mean, I tend to agree. I think that if I didn't see Doge doing what it's doing and all the cuts that they're doing and all the attempts at blocking all this spending, I'm very much that, like, I don't think they should get another dime.
Yeah.
But I do understand that you have to fund some things. And like, for example, I know, Doge, I mean, they've got Doge.
I mean, they've totally us. So how do we fix that?
Yeah. But I do think I would like to see them in some way, shape or form have such a drastic reduction in income tax or give us some kind of tax relief. Like, I think you should, I know people say, well, it's a states thing. I think it's just property tax shouldn't be a thing. I mean, that is just absolutely abhorrent. I think they should immediately, imagine what it would do for Texans today if they turned around and said, I don't care. No more property tax. And Abbott says this all the time. And I know people go, well, it's got to go to the Texas legislature. Don't even get me on that shit show there.
Well, we can't because we don't have time.
I know. But, So just, there needs to be some offset. We don't know what that is going to be. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt because of what they're doing. If it was before, when you're like, I don't know what they're doing, they're not really cutting anything, I get it.
Yeah.
Eric,
and I want to add into this, Eric. We've got 2.5 minutes, and President Trump is now calling out Thomas Massie, who I love. I don't think this is a good decision on President Trump's part.
I think he's retarded. That's one of the most retarded.
It's not a good decision.
If you're
he wants to primary Thomas Massie because
which
Thomas
is the
Massie
dumbest
is a
shit
no
ever.
on
By the
this.
way, and I don't want to hear anything about this libertarian bullshit that I know a lot of people are gonna say. Thomas Massie endorsed Donald Trump, so I'm not trying to hear any of that shit. He gave him that. That does not mean that he has to have this sort of allegiance to Donald Trump on this specific issue. Yep. I agree with everything with what you guys said. The problem is that CR, that continuing resolution doesn't address any of that shit. None of the like actual cuts, let's say, that they talk about with this whole Doge thing is accounted for in that resolution. None. They're still going to continue to fund it, and that's what Massie was saying. It doesn't address it at all. And this is my frustration here, is that I understand why people will continue to say we got to kick the can down the road because later on we got to do it. I'm sorry. Trump's first term didn't. You agree with me, Sarah? He was utterly terrible. That was the thorn in his side. He was terrible on spending. And what was that? 2018 when he talked about when he passed that omnibus bill. And he's like, I will never sign another bill like this again. He did it again. He did it again, and he did it again. So on that issue, he's shown us absolutely nothing that he's going to rein in spending. Doge does not do us any good. Yeah, everybody already knew the government was pissing away money. Now we know on what specific things. But if you're not going to address the spending effort of it, it doesn't mean anything. It's not coming into fruition with anything. And that's my frustration with it, because everybody's going to continue to say, as we've been saying, I don't know for how long, at least as long as I've been alive, well, we got to compromise here. And then that day never comes when spending actually is going to be like reduced in any format. And remember, this is the second time. Rand Paul had that amendment not too long ago. Actually, it was last month. Last month, he had that amendment to that resolution where they wanted to, he was going to cut spending, or that amendment, if it got approved, $1.5 trillion less the government would have been spending. Well, guess what? The Republicans didn't vote for it. So when are we? This is my argument to anybody that says, well, we can't do that right now. When is the right time? Because my entire lifetime, it's never been the right time.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because like you're saying you agree with us, and like I agree with you too. I'm just like, it's day 50. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
I get that, but it's the second time that these Republicans dickheads in Congress.
I got
the second time you had an opportunity. You had it with Rand Paul in the Senate, and you had it here. And by the way, I did a lovely video talking about this, because I know people are going to talk about in 2023 when that whole debt ceiling increase that Massie voted yes for. By the way, that was not a CR. By the way, that he voted on that. But by the way, that had spending caps. That's why he supported it at the time. And I would argue that he should have said no on that, but it's not. That has not. And by the way, that was a joint effort under McCarthy, by the way, right? He's not voted for any CR under Biden or under anybody that actually became law. And I think that distinction is very important to bring up.
Yeah, I agree. If you like this clip and you want to see the full episode, click here. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, come on, you know you do. Click here.